What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today's project is replacing the ball joint on ball runner. So I have the Freedom off-road upper control arm on these, and on ball runner, and it's been about 3 years since I've had that control arm, and it's finally time to do the ball joint. The Freedom off-road takes OEM. I don't know if they said OEM ball joint or OEM style ball joint. By the way, it don't matter. I ordered these from Freedom Off-Road directly, and yeah, I'll probably put like 60 or 70,000 miles on this control arm, so it has seen a lot of off-road use. And it's been, I say the boot torn like a year and a half ago, something like that. But every time I do the oil change, I always grease them. So put grease up right up here. And yeah, so without the boot being there, it still lasted another year and a half. And the passenger side finally has play, and yeah, it's time to change it. We're going camping in 2 days. So today is Thursday. It's a weekday, and I just got off work. So I got to get it done before we go camping. And where we're going camping, I think, depending on where we go, we're going to do a little bit of off-roading, and that video will be posted on Mall Runner's channel, my off-roading channel. So let's get to it. Oh, and I forgot to bring my snap ring pliers home. This is the snap ring. I forgot to bring it home, so I'm just going to improvise, try to do it with pliers or something. We'll see how that goes. If I have to, I can grind down the tip on this plier to fit into the hole of the snap ring, but we'll see once we get there. Alright, so this is the passenger side. I checked it the other day, and that's when I noticed the ball joint is bad. But as you guys can see here, you see how the upper control arm is flexing up and down. That play is from the ball joint. So Freedom Off-Road, they have a dust boot up here, and that's where you pump your grease. You want to clean this piece out. There's, a little bit of grease and stuff in here. And that is where the snap ring sits. Alright, so with the snap ring off, you want to just go back and clean. Because I off-road a lot, you know, there's, even though it has a dust boot, you still get some junk in here. Alright, so you don't have to start with the snap ring first. I started there because I don't have pliers, snap ring pliers, so I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to get it off or it's going to fight me or whatnot. But you can start here first and then go to the snap ring. It doesn't matter. So pulling, you got to pull the cotter pin out first. Easiest way is just to use, you know, some people call it side cutters. In this industry, we call it dikes. Yeah, just pull the cotter pin out, and then I believe that's a 19 mil. We'll both find out. Yep, 19 mil. Alright, and then you don't want to back the nut off all the way. You want to just give some space, and then you're going to smack it here with a hammer to knock the ball joint loose or out of the knuckle. So once you knock this loose, you want to have a way to secure the knuckle to the strut. Normally I use like a brake caliper hanger. You can use straps, you can use zip ties, whatever works for you, but I don't have any. I'm limited on zip ties. I don't want to waste any, so I'm just going to use a little wire. This is just electrical wire. It don't have to be anything crazy. It's just to prevent the knuckle from coming forward too much. If it comes too far, you're going to pull the CV axle apart, and you don't want to do that. So take the nut off the rest of the way. Alright, so with the nut out, you can lift the upper control arm, and you see how the knuckle is just hanging by the wire. And then this part you're going to need, I'm going to pull the rest of the boot off, even though there's not much left in there. Just wipe as much grease as you can off so you're not making a mess. And then you're going to need a ball joint press. And then down here for this press is a 22 millimeter. Alright, so that's the ball joint. Alright, so how these ball joints work inside of this joint, well, this ball joint, like in the inside of there, there's a like a bushing. Some Toyotas are normally they're brass bushing. Some of the cheaper aftermarket stuff they use like nylon. And over time, the reason why you grease it is so there's a barrier between the metal and then the bushing. If it runs out of grease, or in this case, the grease is leaking out because there's nothing to contain the grease. The metal starts to wear out the brass and the nylon, and then you get play like this. I don't know if it's going to show on video, but the play that you see here is the bushing being basically worn out, and then yeah, eventually where the play gets so bad, it starts to be metal on metal, and then that's when the ball itself can pop out. Um, that's like worst case scenario. Usually you got a good bit of time before that happens, but you should do everything in your power to not even get that far. Because if this ball joint were to fail, not only will I be replacing the ball joint, I'm replacing the CV axle, the tie rod, the sway bar link, brake line, stuff like that. Basically, I'll be dead in water on the trail, so you never want to get this far or farther than this. Before you press the new ball joint in, you want to go in here and clean it up. Just make sure you're starting with nice clean surface. Alright, so the ball joint is ready to go back in. Normally I would take the boot off and press it in first and then put the boot back on. But because of the way that this is designed, it's harder to put the boot back on, especially when it has a spring clip right here. You can, normally I'll recommend use like silicone spray, but I don't have any here. Actually, let me check on that. Yeah, so I don't have any silicone spray, so I'm just going to use the Super Lube. And you want to just put a thin coat on the boot just to help it, slide through so it doesn't catch on any the metal and rip. So just put a little thin coat. It doesn't hurt to put on the metal either to help it slide down. You do not want to use like WD-40 or penetrating fluid or anything like that. That can dry out the boot a lot faster, and then you basically kind of destroy the ball joint then. Yep, so it was in. It's all the way down, has room for the snap ring. If you do this, I do highly recommend you take the control arm off. It makes it so much easier. As you can see, I was hitting the top of my fender liner, but yeah, it is what it is. Alright, so that's basically it. I don't have a grease gun here, so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and I'll grease it at work. But every time you install a new ball joint, especially if it has a grease fitting, you always want to re-grease it. They come with grease on them already, but you can't really, have too much grease. So you always want to grease it up until the grease starts coming out. Either the boot starts to swell, or, for these, the top of it, right where the grease fitting is at, there's a relief port right there. It'll start relieving grease when it gets super full. So yeah, I'll knock that out tomorrow. As for me, I don't have to lift it up or anything. I don't even have to take off my wheels. I can pop this cap off and grease it while the vehicle is sitting on the ground. So there's no problem with that. So I'm not going to do the other side, because the other side, the ball joint is still good. Yeah, so I'm not going to do the other side. The ball joint on the driver's side is still good, so there's no sense of doing it until it goes bad. I did buy two, so I have another ball joint, and I'll do that once I start seeing play on that side. But yeah, that is basically, that's it for this video. And tomorrow after work, I'm gonna put on the tent, and then we're going camping Saturday. But yeah, like I said before, if you guys want to see that video, it'll be posted up in Malt Runner's channel. I'll put a link up somewhere up here for a, you just click on that and it'll take you to the channel. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys again next time. Alright, so this little bit is for my buddy Miles. He needs to do the steering angle sensor. So like I said, it's for Miles. If you guys are still around for at this point, I appreciate it. So 4th and 5th gen are really similar. What you need to do is pull off the airbag. To do that, you got to take out the bolts on the side right here, and then get to the big nut in the middle for the steering wheel. It should be like a 18 mil or something. So normally there's a cover right here. You just got to pop this cover off like that. And then there's another one on the other side. Just like that. And then for the 4th gen, it's the Torx bit. It looks like probably a T27. Let's see, T27. I'm gonna grab T30 and T25 too. You should disconnect your battery to do this, but I mean, I've done it without it. Don't do as I'm doing. You should do it, be careful. You always want to disconnect your battery for at least 30 minutes. I mean, T25 fits, but it's kind of loose. Yeah, it's a T30. So I don't know if you guys can see that. These are self-capture bolts, so they don't come out all the way. So you basically want to unscrew it until it turns really easily. That way that the screw is backed all the way, and then you want to pull the airbag forward, just like so. Disconnect the airbag. Like I say, you should have the battery disconnected for this. I don't. So don't do like me. Pull that yellow clip right there off. Pull it out, and then that should release the airbag. Like that, the airbag's removed. And then in here, you want to disconnect this wire. That's for the horn and steering wheel control. Pulls off just like that. And then you should be left with these two yellow wires. That's for the airbag. And then the next, you gotta take off this nut. It looks like it's either 17 or 19. So let's go get that. And you also want to get an impact for this. It's just 3/8 impact. Want to go. That's a knockoff battery. And go with the original Milwaukee battery. It's going to need a small extension. So this is like a 6-inch extension. And then let's see, got 17 and 19. Oh, so this is 19. So you want to back off the nut right before it comes off, but leave the nut in there, and then you want to, you know, plant your feet firmly, and then you pull the steering wheel towards you like that. So basically you just pop the shaft loose, and then you take the nut off the rest of the way. And then here's the important part. You want to mark it. So you put the steering wheel back to the same spot. I thought I marked mine, but I guess not. So I'm gonna get a marker or something to mark with. I guess this little pencil will do. This is just a wax pencil. So marker right there and steering wheel right here. All right, so with that removed, you want to pull the steering wheel out all the way, and then you want to take off the cowling around here. So this is the clock spring right here. Let's see, it looks like just Phillips head. Screwdriver. I'll take these two. It's been a minute since I've done my clock spring, so I don't remember exactly where all this, how many screws there are. I guess it looks like just 3. So should be it. You pop that off. The top one you can leave, just kind of pull it off out of the way. And then for the clock spring, there's 2 wires. There's one. And then I believe the airbag one's kind of weird. It's like a double safety kind of thing. There we go. So that's released. And then take these 3 screws off. This is where you want to be careful, especially for me, because when it's brand new, it has a keeper right here, a little, usually it's like yellow. little yellow clip goes right here and locks it in place. But mine's not there because you got to pull it out. Once you install the clock spring, you pull that piece out. Well, it'll snap and it'll break or something. I don't remember, but yeah. See how it will move? So you gotta be careful with that. Just for me, I gotta be careful with that. So there's 4 screws that holds the clock spring in place. And then the clock spring pulls off. The 5th gen, the clock spring is built into the back of this, so you just pop this off and then pop the new one back on. But for mine, the steering angle sensor, this is it right here, so it's separate. And the steering angle sensor reads off of I don't freaking know what you call this. But yeah, that's it. Just reverse everything back. But miles, just like what I said, once you're done one, you basically done all of them. Every vehicle is really similar. They're similar to how this is set up. Some of the domestic stuff, instead of having a bolt to the side to hold on the airbag, they have a little clip, so you shove a screwdriver to push the release, and then the airbag just pops forward. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna put everything back together. So adios.